Sean Diddy Combs, the name synonymous with hip-hop royalty, now echoes within the cold confines of a jail cell. Gone are the glittering lights and pulsating beats, replaced by the stark reality of his legal battle. Accused of serious crimes, Diddy finds himself stripped of his freedom. A recent cell search ignited a firestorm, pitting Diddy's legal team against prosecutors. Diddy's lawyers claim it was a violation of his rights. The defense cried foul, alleging a witch hunt. Diddy, once a symbol of success, faces an uncertain future. His legal team vows to fight, exposing what they believe is a miscarriage of justice. The courtroom becomes a battleground where every word could tip the scales of freedom. This is about the rights of every citizen, even those behind bars. The details of the cell search are fiercely contested. Diddy's lawyers paint a picture of an unwarranted intrusion, an invasion of privacy designed to intimidate and undermine their client. They claim that personal notes, legal documents, even private correspondence with his defense team were fair game, scooped up in the prosecutorial dragnet. The implication is clear: the prosecution, desperate to secure a conviction, is resorting to underhanded tactics. They argue that the seizure of these materials goes beyond the pale, violating the sanctity of attorney-client privilege, a cornerstone of the American legal system. Without this protection, they argue, the right to a fair trial is nothing but a hollow promise. Diddy's legal team points to the timing of the search, its scope, and the alleged disregard for privileged materials as evidence of prosecutorial misconduct. They raise the specter of a system more concerned with securing a conviction than upholding the rights of the accused. This is not just about a cell search, they argue, but a calculated assault on the fundamental principles of due process. The defense team, their voices echoing in the hallowed halls of justice, vows to expose this alleged overreach and hold those responsible accountable for their actions. The prosecution, however, presents a starkly different narrative. They scoff at accusations of wrongdoing, dismissing them as desperate attempts to deflect attention from the serious charges facing Mr. Combs. The cell search, they insist, was nothing more than a routine security measure, conducted in accordance with established prison protocols. They maintain that such searches are essential to maintaining order and safety within correctional facilities, a necessary evil in a world where inmates might attempt to conceal contraband, weapons, or evidence. The prosecution balks at the suggestion that Diddy was specifically targeted, pointing out that the search was part of a broader sweep, encompassing numerous cells within the facility. Moreover, they argue, any materials seized were handled with the utmost care and professionalism. A dedicated team of legal professionals, uninvolved in the Diddy case, was tasked with reviewing any potentially sensitive documents to ensure that attorney-client privilege was not violated. This filter team, they argue, acts as an impartial arbiter, safeguarding the rights of the accused while also upholding the integrity of the investigation. The prosecution maintains that their actions were entirely above board, motivated solely by a desire to ensure a fair and impartial trial. At the heart of this legal tussle lies a fundamental principle of the American justice system: attorney-client privilege. This sacred pact, enshrined in law, ensures that communications between a client and their legal counsel remain confidential. It is the bedrock upon which trust is built, allowing individuals to speak freely and openly with their attorneys without fear of reprisal or prejudice. This privilege is not absolute, however. There are exceptions, narrow instances where the courts may deem it necessary to pierce the veil of confidentiality. But the bar for doing so is exceptionally high, requiring compelling evidence that the communication in question falls outside the scope of legal advice or that it pertains to the furtherance of a crime or fraud. The prosecution, in defending the cell search, argues that they took every precaution to ensure that privileged materials were not accessed or reviewed by the team handling Diddy's case. They insist that the filter team, composed of independent legal professionals, acted as a safeguard, meticulously reviewing any potentially sensitive documents. Diddy's legal team, however, remains unconvinced. They argue that the mere act of seizing legal documents, regardless of whether they were ultimately reviewed by the prosecution team, constitutes a breach of trust, casting a shadow of doubt over the entire process. Combs' legal troubles extend far beyond his jail cell. He stands accused of serious offenses that could see him behind bars for years. The allegations depict a man wielding power to silence those who crossed him. Prosecutors allege a campaign of intimidation and control. They point to a pattern of behavior spanning years. The charges include coercion, abuse, and obstruction of justice. Prosecutors claim Diddy used threats and violence to protect his empire. Diddy denies all charges, calling it a witch hunt. His legal team is working to dismantle the prosecution's case. As the legal battle rages on, Diddy remains incarcerated, his every move scrutinized, his freedom hanging by a thread. His legal team, in a bid to secure his release, has mounted a vigorous bail application, offering a small fortune as a guarantee that their client will adhere to any conditions imposed by the court. The prosecution, however, is vehemently opposed to any form of pretrial release. They argue that Diddy, with his vast wealth and international connections, poses an unacceptable flight risk. They paint a picture of a man with the means and the motive to disappear, to leverage his considerable resources to evade justice. Furthermore, prosecutors express grave concerns about witness tampering. They argue that Diddy, if released, would not hesitate to use his influence to silence those who dare to testify against him. They point to his alleged history of intimidation, his vast network of associates, and his ability to influence public opinion as evidence of the risk he poses. The judge, faced with this legal tug-of-war, ultimately sided with the prosecution, denying Diddy's bail application. The decision, a blow to Diddy and his legal team, underscores the seriousness of the charges and the uphill battle he faces in clearing his name. As the legal drama unfolds, the specter of uncertainty looms large over Diddy's sprawling business empire. The man who built a hip-hop dynasty, a global brand synonymous with success and extravagance, now finds his legacy teetering on the brink. The allegations against him, if proven true, threaten to irrevocably tarnish his reputation, casting a long shadow over his achievements. Business partners, sponsors, and collaborators watch with bated breath, their own fortunes intertwined with the fate of the embattled mogul. The court of public opinion, a fickle and unforgiving judge, has already begun to render its verdict. Social media is abuzz with speculation, fans and critics alike weighing in on Diddy's guilt or innocence. The once unassailable brand, built on a foundation of charisma and street cred, is now tainted by the stench of scandal. Diddy's legal team, acutely aware of the high stakes involved, is engaged in a two-pronged battle, fighting the criminal charges while simultaneously seeking to salvage their client's reputation. It is a Herculean task, a race against time to restore public confidence and protect a legacy built over decades. Section 8. The ongoing legal battle surrounding Sean Diddy Combs transcends the individual circumstances of the case. It shines a light on the delicate balance between ensuring public safety and upholding the fundamental rights of the accused, even those confined within the walls of a jail cell. The prosecution's insistence on conducting the cell search, while arguably justified on security grounds, raises concerns about the potential for overreach. The seizure of legal documents, even if handled with the utmost care, underscores the need for robust safeguards to protect attorney-client privilege, a cornerstone of a fair and just legal system. Diddy's case serves as a stark reminder that the pursuit of justice must never come at the expense of due process. It highlights the importance of judicial oversight, the need for transparency in law enforcement actions, and the crucial role of a robust defense in holding the powerful accountable. As the legal process unfolds, the world will be watching, eager to see if justice will be served, not just for Sean Diddy Combs, but for the very principles of fairness and due process that underpin the American legal system. The outcome of this case, regardless of the verdict, will undoubtedly shape the conversation about the balance between security and rights for years to come.